Hello YouTube, it's Night here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another TBR video. Today's video is going to be over everything that I plan to read in this lovely month of October. Now, two things. One, the usual ramble video that goes after the TBR won't be out tomorrow, but rather on Monday, because I wanted to do like videos from this past week from this past month that I hadn't been able to upload on Saturday, just to keep up with the fact that Saturdays don't necessarily have to have videos that fit the theme of what the month is supposed to be. Now, that's a good segue into what this month's theme is. Now, I couldn't really pick a specific one. Like, I wanted to do Monster Girls, but I don't really have that many Monster Girls manga that I haven't already reviewed or that cost a lot to buy. So I was like, okay, what do I do instead of that? Then I thought generally monsters, and I was like, okay, that is fine, but I don't really have that many manga that are specifically about monsters. I do have a few vampire manga, which we're gonna read this month. So we'll do that. But I didn't have enough, so I was like, okay, well, what else do I do? And then I kind of got into this idea that, I could just generally do like supernatural things, right? Because supernatural stuff is more or less what Halloween is about. And the holiday that Halloween is based on, Samhain, I think is what it's called. Or it's more about the supernatural than specifically monsters or horror or anything like that. So I was just going to go with the supernatural theme in general. And so everything that we read this month, except for 2 books, are going to generally be things that deal with supernatural stuff. So that way I can have magic, vampires, monster girls, whatever I wanted, right? So we'll do that. Now let's start talking about what I'm going to be reading this month. And I'm not going to review everything that I read this month. I'm going to review most things, but some of the books that I'm going to read this month, I'm just not going to review like at all. And I'll talk about them specifically, but yeah, let's get into it. So first, I have 2 books that I want to read that I didn't finish last time. I decided that I wasn't going to add the rest of my sci-fi TBR back into this month because it doesn't really fit, and I didn't really feel it's necessary. Plus, I kind of just lost interest in sci-fi over the course of last month because I had been reading so much of it. So while my interest for sci-fi returns, I'm gonna focus on other things. So the 2 series that I want, or the 2 books that I want to finish from last month are Watchmen. This is my roommate's copy. I need to buy myself one, but still chugging along. It's really boring to read, like I mentioned yesterday in my reading log video, but I am pushing through it, and it is kind of getting easier to read the more I read it because I'm getting used to the horrible paneling and stuff like that. But I do want to finish this and review it because Watchmen is like the pinnacle of graphic novels or short limited series kind of runs, and I think that I need to be able to read this if I want to appreciate modern comic books. So there we go, Watchmen. The other thing that I want to finish is Kuroichi, because I need to finish reading that and reviewing it, and I don't want to have another book that like takes me a year to review. So there we go. That's the 2 things that I wanted to carry over from last month that I'm gonna read and review this month for sure. So yeah, that's it for that. Now let's get into the actual thematic things that I'm gonna be reading this month. So let's start with the novels because I do want to start reading novels again. I have been putting it aside for quite a long time, and I think it's time to return to form and kind of get back into novels. So the first novel that I want to start reading this month is Elantris. Now, how does this tie into the supernatural? Well, it's a epic fantasy, so it has magic. That's supernatural, but really the kind of aspect that I am most focused on here is the fact that Elantris basically deals with magic zombies, right? So I have read this before, or have started reading it before, but Brandon Sanderson was not where he is today when he wrote Elantris and when he published Elantris. This is his first published work, and so it's a little bit rough around the edges, and in fact I think it's also kind of a little bit boring to read, but that's specifically an issue with me because the first Brandon Sanderson book I ever read was The Way of Kings, which was like his magnum opus at the time, and so it's like, well, obviously everything feels boring in comparison to the magnum opus, right? So that kind of sucks. But Elantris is about magic zombies. It's this world where magic is dying, and so everyone that is magically powered or who has magic available to them kind of withers and becomes this kind of like zombie type of creature. And we get to see this kind of like female character, this princess character, I think is what she was, try to figure out a way to fix this because her betrothed, I don't know how to say that word, ended up becoming one of these zombie monsters. So there we go. That's what Elantris is about. So that's why I wanted to read this month. I thought it was thematic enough that it fit, and it also was a way for me to read more Brandon Sanderson, because as much as I love him, I haven't actually read everything in his series catalog just yet, and I want to read more of it because I feel like I'm falling behind. I want to be caught up with the Cosmere and kind of engage with the Cosmere community, but I can't do that if I'm not caught up because it's just hard. So yeah, that's the first book I want to read, Elantris. Then I want to read some urban fantasy. I was going to bring up my copy of Grey Peril, the third book in the Dresden Files, but I was like, well, I can't review that if I haven't reviewed the previous two, so I'm just not going to. I'll review this instead and read this instead, since this is a book one in a different series. This is Hounded, book one in the Iron Druid series, which is one of those like urban fantasy that aren't aimed at women specifically, because most urban fantasy and supernatural romance kind of novels are all more or less aimed at women, and this is one of the few that isn't. So I decided to read it because I have read some of the supernatural romance and some of the urban fantasy that is aimed at women, and I mean, I don't find it bad. I think it's actually quite interesting, and generally if it's written well, it's good, but it like is weird. Like there's a dissonance between how it's written and what it's trying to kind of do, and like what I'm looking for in urban fantasy. So I'm gonna see if this male-oriented one is a little bit more kind of kind of more in line with what I'm looking for. The Dresden Files isn't really what I'm looking for either. Maybe I'm just not a fan of urban fantasy that much, but I thought it was more in line with what I was looking for than some of the female-oriented ones that I was looking at. So yeah, there you go. That's Hounded. I think there's more than 3 books in this series. I'm not really sure, but I have seen quite a few at my local half-price books. So if I like this, I'll pick up more. But yeah, there you go. That's the second novel I want to read, Hounded. Then I want to read Dracula. Now, this is the Bram Stoker version, the original one, I guess. I know that there's older vampire books in this one, but this is the most widely available one and the one that most people think of when they think of vampire books. But I mean, I know there's like a few other ones. There's like that one about Carmilla, I think is her name, the Vampire Queen, and then there's a few other ones. But Dracula by Bram Stoker is like the end-all, be-all of vampire novels. So yeah, this one kind of has a bit of a story to it. I have started reading this before quite a few times, but I always get to like the first 100 pages and I'm kind of like bored because it doesn't really feel like much is happening. But I do want to read it, and I think that it's going to be nice to, finally push through that bit and finish reading it. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. It's Dracula. What more is there to say? So yeah, that's it. It's thematic. A lot of the manga that I'm reading this month is like vampire oriented, so I thought a vampire novel was a good one. So there you go. And the last novel I want to read, or the second to last novels. Okay. The third to last novel I want to read is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now this one looks different because this is the Spanish edition. This is by Oceano Books, I think is what the company is called. Oh no, the company is Salamandra, but Oceano is like a distributor of books. And this is Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal, which is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And yeah, I mean, there really isn't much to it. Harry Potter is Harry Potter. There's magic schools and stuff like that. And so I just thought that it would fit. Plus, everything that happens to Harry Potter that is bad in his life happens in Halloween. So I thought it was thematically good, right? Plus, I wanted to read more stuff in Spanish because I want to practice my Spanish more. I'm a native speaker, yes, but because I live in the US, I very rarely get to do anything with it besides speak to my family in Spanish. So I wanted to read more stuff, which is why I bought a bunch of Spanish manga a while back. And I want to continue to do that. So here we go, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Mexican Spanish edition. You'll notice that there's some weird things, like they don't have quotation marks in the way this is written. It's a bunch of weird dash lines instead of quotation marks. If you guys have ever read No Game, No Life, you'll probably notice that that's kind of similar. I'm pretty sure the guy that wrote No Game, No Life is like half Portuguese or something. So maybe Portuguese writing styles are similar to Spanish writing styles. I'm not too sure. But yeah. Now, moving on, let's talk about the other two novels that I want to read. And these are more light novels. The first one is an original English light novel called Tremore, which is a German word for dreams, if I remember correctly, written by Yuna San Juan. I think she said she was a Filipino, so she would pronounce it like in English, but it's too late now. I said Juan, so whatever. And this is a vampire original English light novel. It's based on the book of the, not the book, sorry, the video game of the same name that she created, as far as I understand it. And I don't know, she gave it to me like last year, and I just hadn't gotten around to reading it anytime. And I was like, okay, Halloween is coming up. This is a good kind of like October month read. So here we are. This is what I'm going to be reading this month. There you go. I really like the art. And if you follow her on Twitter or Instagram, I can't remember, she does updates about what she's doing with her books. I think she's writing or editing book 3 right now, and she's drawing stuff for it, like the cover and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, you should give her a follow. I'll put it up here if you guys want to follow her on social media. So yeah. Then Monster Girl Doctor. This one is thematically not really that relevant beyond the fact that there's monster girls, and that's really all that really matters in this case. Everything else that is about this isn't really creepy or scary or in any way kind of supernatural beyond the fact that there's monster girls, and really that's all there is to it. This is basically this guy moves into this town that is half populated by monsters, half populated by humans, and he's a doctor that specializes in helping monster people. And he happens to basically just have female patients all the time. And obviously, ecchi shenanigans ensue, and that's all there is to it. I mean, there's really nothing special about it. That's all there is. So yeah, I don't know. I just really like the art style in this one. I think it's very cute. And monster girls are kind of like a thing that are fun. So there you go. Monster Girl Doctor. Now, let's get into the manga comic book kind of section, which is kind of like the more interesting part, I think, because they're easier to read and there's usually a lot more of them to do so. But let me drink some tea before I do that. Okay, sorry. That was really hot. So let's see. Okay, the first thing I want to read is Yu Yu Hakusho. This is the Spanish edition. This is just volume 1 of the Kanzenban edition, so it has 1.5 volumes in it. It's a dude with a spirit power, so it fits the supernatural theme. It also deals with him dying and kind of trying to help people, so I thought that was really good. I mean, a lot of people talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't really know too much about it. I read the first chapter a while back, and I really did enjoy it, so I want to continue to read this, and I'm trying to read all of the manga I have in Spanish right now. so that when I go to Mexico in the winter, I know what to buy to kind of continue my collection, right? So there you go. Yu Yu Show, don't really have much to say about it. It's cool. I really like this edition, and I really like it when the cover's off as well, because it has this beautiful kind of black background with silver and green, which I think is a great color combination. I am a fan of the Slytherin color combination, so that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, that's Yu Yu Show. This video is like weird. I don't know. I don't have the kind of usual explaining to do. I don't know. I mean, I'm talking about stuff that is very generally well known in the communities that I frequent, so I don't really feel the need to explain it that much. But maybe I should. So let me know down in the comments if this like kind of toned down, just relaxed style is better, or if I should like try to be more over the top and kind of like explain a lot more deeply. So yeah, let's continue. So the next thing I want to read is Go Death by Yui Shiozaki. Here you go. This is 3-volume series. This is also in Spanish. This is published by Kamite, which is the only manga company that publishes in Mexico. There's actually from Mexico. Panini is from Italy. Planeta Comics is from Spain. And I think you can also buy Ibrea books in Mexico, but very rarely, and that's also from Spain or Argentina. Can't remember exactly. But here we go. This is Go Death. It's about vampires or homunculi or something like that. Yeah, it says vampires, so it's definitely about vampires. But it has a lot of like Christian mythology involved in it, and honestly, I just picked this up because it was a series that wasn't available in English, and because I thought the art style was quite beautiful, but of course it's very ecchi, so there you go. I don't really know too much about this. I just know that it's kind of created by someone that is relatively well known in the manga anime community. He also did this series called Ikitosen, which is like a fighting girl series. But I don't know anything about it, so whatever. I mean, I just picked this up for 2 reasons. It was available in Spanish and not in English, and it had beautiful, kind of very attractive artwork. So I don't really know too much about it, so I don't really have much to say. But it's about vampires. I thought it fit the kind of theme, and I really wanted to just read this series because it's the only one from Kamite that I have, and because I want to see if I want to buy more stuff from this company. So there you go. That's Go Death. Yeah, I don't know. These are rather boring in comparison to all of the Panini manga ones I have. And if this was ever published in English, I would assume that this would be published as a single book, because there's no point in having 3 separate books that are so skinny. But yeah, so now next is Devil's Line, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm reading these digitally. I honestly don't like the art very much in this series, but I bought it because it was only $5 for all 3 volumes in a Bookwalker sale a long time ago. When I bought, what was it? I bought a bunch of stuff that time, but I think the important ones were Space Brothers and Nagatoro and Tokyo Revengers. I think is the important stuff that I read that I bought that time. But yeah, it's about vampires. It kind of seems to also be kind of a detective manga or something like that. So I thought it was interesting. But the artwork isn't really my favorite, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm still gonna read it. It's just better artwork would have been nicer, but it's no big deal, right? So yeah, there's not much to say about Devil's Line. I don't know too much about it. So yeah, I'm going into a lot of these series blind, if you guys couldn't tell. But yeah, so next is kind of the more interesting series that I want to read this month. And that's because I want to read the Junji Ito stuff. This is my roommate's. He let me borrow them. I need to give them back to him as soon as I finish reading, so I'm probably going to read these first. But yeah, so we have Junji Ito's Gyo, which is about fish, I think. It's like a creepy fish story, which is interesting. This is probably the one I'm going to read first since it's the shortest. And then we have Tomie by Junji Ito as well. This is kind of like the little dash marks that the Sharingan has. But this is about like a creepy femme fatale succubus, according to the back of the book, which is cool. These are also fucking heavy, man. Holy shit. And then Uzumaki, which is spirals, kind of like Naruto, which is pretty cool. I really like these editions. If I like these books, I'll probably end up buying them for myself because they're very beautiful editions. Even if I don't like them that much, I might just buy them because they're very nice collector's editions. But I'm not too sure. But I mean, I don't know anything about Uzumaki or Gyo or Tomei beyond the fact that they're horror. Junji Ito is basically the only horror manga that is available in English besides that one guy that did Drifting Classroom. And that's basically it. Uzumaki is like the one I'm most interested in. It just is creepy, and circles can definitely be something I would that I can easily see being creepy, right? Because it's like space and black holes and stuff like that. Those are circles, right? And so it makes sense. I can understand how circles and spirals can be scary. I'm not really too sure about fish smell though. So whatever, I guess. I don't know. I'm really interested in reading these for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. The vibe of this video is just weird, man. I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm coming off lazy or something, but I don't mean to be. I'm just like in a very relaxed, kind of passive mood today. So yeah, hopefully it's not super boring to watch. Okay, next is Monstrous. Now this one, I don't necessarily think it's scary by any means, but it is supernatural, so we're going with it. I don't really know too much about this. I bought it on a whim because I had been interested in it. I heard someone say that if you like manga, this is a comic book to check out, and I believe them without verifying it, so I hope that it is. I mean, it's also not that expensive. It was $9, so it doesn't really, if I don't like it, it's not that big a deal. It wasn't a big investment, right? But I do want to kind of check it out and hope I enjoy it. Also really like the artwork. It just looks really pretty and very interesting. So yeah, there you go. That's Monstrous. Next, what else? Okay, a bunch of digital manga now. So I want to read Black Torch. It's ninjas versus demons, which I think fits. I could have just filled this list up with a bunch of like exercise manga, exorcist manga, not exercise, yeah, exorcist manga like Bleach. But I decided that doing that was kind of boring, and most of them weren't really horror. So I'm just gonna mix it up and do a few of them. So yeah, Black Torch is the first one. It's only 19 chapters. It's still 5 volumes though, so each chapter is relatively long. But it's been one that I've wanted to read for fucking ever, and I was just like, okay, I'll just do it now. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna read it, and I'm really excited about that. If I don't get around to reading this one, I want to read Phantom Seer instead. Like, they both hold the same spot in my TBR, so I'll read one or the other. Probably both, honestly, because reading manga is super easy. It doesn't really take that much effort, and I can read it really, really fast, even if I have like a lot less time than usual. So yeah, Phantom Seer was one that I started reading as it was publishing. Then I fell off of it when I learned that it was going to get canceled, and then I just never like came back to it. So I want to come back to it and kind of finish it off. It's only 30 chapters, and hopefully it gets an English release that is a physical book. But who knows? Then the last title that I want to read, and this one is barely like connected to the theme, is JoJo's Part 1. Now, it has vampires in it, and it's supernatural, and it's kind of shitty, and so like Dio is shitty, not the series. So I think it fits. It's good enough. Thematically, it makes sense. So I wanted to read JoJo's, just Part 1, because my roommates love JoJo's, and they wanted me to watch it and enjoy it. And I tried to do it over the pandemic, but I couldn't get over the horrible kind of pacing of the series. I couldn't get like past episode 4, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna watch it. It's boring. It sucks. It's slow. I'm just gonna read it instead, and I just needed an excuse to get around to reading it, and it having vampires was a good enough excuse to put it in this month's theme. So yeah, that's the last thing that I have on my proper, like, this is what I want to specifically read kind of part of the list. I also have 2 alternative titles in case I get bored or want to read something else, and that would be The Shadow Rising, which is the 4th book in the Wheel of Time, which is right here. There you go. Shadow Rising, yeah, book 4, The Wheel of Time. I don't really need to read this right now. Like, I'm in no rush. The series is about to come out in November, and it clearly is only gonna talk about the first 2 books, as far as I can tell. So I'm not in any rush to read more of it, but it is always nice to get back into the Wheel of Time. It's a beautiful world that happens to, be very, very interesting and compelling. And this is, I think, the last book before the start of the slog, so want to enjoy this one as soon as possible so I can blitz through the kind of like boring bits in the series. So yeah, that's the first alternative title. The second alternative title that I want to kind of look at is Seventh Garden, which is a kind of Demons versus Angels series that's available on the Shonen Jump app. I don't know too much about it. I just know that every time I've seen covers for it, I've really wanted to pick it up, but never have because it's on the Shonen Jump title. So I'm just going to read it there. It doesn't seem to be very long either. I think it's only 8 volumes, which is not bad at all. That's a really easy kind of read. That is still long enough to keep you like engaged for a few days. So that's the last thing I'm like looking to read this month. Probably end up reading quite a few other things. I have a volume of Eden Zero that I want to read, a volume of Mashal that I want to read, so I'll probably end up reading those 2. And I'll probably, Eden Zero doesn't fit the theme, but Mashal kind of does, because if Harry Potter fits the theme, Mashal does too. So I might review Mashal volumes 1 and 2 on the channel. I'm not too sure yet. I haven't really decided what to do with it. But I definitely want to read those volumes as soon as I can. So yeah, that's the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry I kind of rambled and I was kind of like low energy today. I just am like comfortable today, so I'm not trying to do anything kind of crazy and kind of what's it called? I don't know. I'm just in a good mood right now, and I don't want to kind of like sour it by having to act a little bit more hyped up or kind of what's it called? Like I don't know how to word it. By having to put more energy into something that I'm like okay with, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Tell me what you guys are reading this month. I really am interested to see what you guys are trying to read this month. So yeah, I also have a coffee page. If you guys want to support my channel in any way, you guys feel free to go check it out. It's down in the description. And yeah, I really do appreciate you guys and everyone that watches and comments and kind of interacts with me. I really do appreciate you guys. That's why I do YouTube, just to talk to more people. And yeah, thank you guys very much. See you guys later.